There's the audio. Hello and welcome. Check out the new digs. You can still hear the uh, computer just working his little butt off, trying to get all these little pixels and sound waves out to you guys, so you can join me live for a live comic book club. Oof, that was a clunky intro, but hey, thanks for joining me. Also, maybe I sound underwater because I can't monitor myself through this. I'm borrowing a soundboard right now, so that way I can actually use a proper podcasting microphone instead of the Yeti, which is still good. But I did have this, so why not use it? So let me know in the chat if you can see me right now. I am going to kick off the Instagram live stream, and I think I'd be able to look at the chat. Danny Boy joining us from Periscope, thank you. We also have people from Twitch as well as YouTube. We have Caitlin Conway, Finyo, Wendy S., Kango Demon, and Cesar Rojas. Make sure you guys tweet this out, get people joining us, and we'll go ahead and kick it off in just a second, talking about, the classic series, Lock and Key. Wait, wrong. Wrong one. This is what I'm talking about. Glad I had that one queued up exactly the way I wanted it to. All right, let me go ahead and kick off the Instagram live stream. You can hear my bones cracking. Okay, that's going live. That's going live. It's going live. All right. I don't know if you guys can tell based on the different setup, but my girlfriend and I painted this wall, and that's the blue that was here last time. And also we just reorganized and put up some stuff. Shout out to the people joining us right now from Instagram Live. I'm going to try to be able to look at this from a browser, and it's probably not going to work the way I want it to, but that's okay, because yeah, it's not quite working the way I want it to. That's okay. We're going to try to get this queued up. Good time to try this when I'm pushing out a bunch of data. You know what? We'll go ahead and make it work. Everyone in the chat, make sure you sound off, and we're going to be talking about Lock and Key Volume 1. Welcome to Lovecraft. Welcome to Lovecraft. I'm going to take this off a little bit, just a little easier for me to talk to all of you. So thank you for joining me. Once again, this is episode 3 of Comic Book Club. I specifically talk about comics that I love, that I recommend, and are free to read on Hoopla, which is all you need is a library card, and you can just sign up for free right now if you want to, and pick up any kind of comic that you've been thinking about reading, or if it's a favorite that you just can't find anywhere else. Hoopla probably has it. Also, Comixology Unlimited, last time I checked, had a 60-day free trial. So you can go ahead and check that out for all your comic needs. They have Marvel, DC, Indie. Today we're talking about an IDW original that came out in 2008 from Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. I have a physical version of the comic, but I lent that to a buddy of mine to check out after they watched the Netflix series. So in the chat, please let me know your thoughts on the Lock and Key is a comic. Yeah, we have that from Josiah31115. Of course it is a comic. Let me know what you think of the comic in the chat, and also what you thought of the series, because they have similarities, but overall what was covered in season 1 is very different from the way the comic was adapted. But there are some key similarities between the two of them, and also I understand why some things were changed and why things played out differently when it was adapted. But I found this comic based on the recommendation of Joe Beretta. You guys are probably familiar with him. If you're not, check out The Valley Folk. Of course, if you're following me, you know who that is. You know who that person is. Wendy S says R.I.P. Play Noggin. No. We used to do that. Levels are good. The TV show was reviewed negatively, but I actually liked it. Cesar Rojas says. I ended up liking it the more I watched it, but I had to get used to that it was a different property in the way they were adapting it differently. Anyways, I first read this based on the recommendation of Joe and a bunch of other people that I used to work with at SourceFed, and I read it at SourceFed. I even stayed at after by like 2 hours one day because I was reading the finale, the last volume 6, I believe, volume 5 or 6. I don't have it in front of me. Sorry, Omega, and I was just enthralled. I was unbelievably blown away by what they were able to do with this comic. Also, I hadn't read something scary in a long time, and I think that's why I was so drawn to it. That it is a very serious horror comic that has elements of magic that have like a dark fantasy twist to them. And if you've watched the series, there are elements of those things. They're not totally vacant, and but they are different. It's more of a YA interpretation of the IP, and I'm fine with that because also you're able to get a younger audience to watch it. It's just scary enough for general audiences, but at the same time, I feel like there's enough things there for older audiences to appreciate. But in this first book, it's such a solid setup to the state that the family's in. We have Ty Bodie and Kinsley and their mom are moving from San Francisco all the way to uh, 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 Massachusetts. Why am I blanking? Welcome to Lovecraft. That's the name of the it's the name of the book. They moved to Lovecraft and they moved into the Key House, which was part of the Locke family estate. And so once their dad Wendell was murdered and they needed to start over, they decided to move back to that house. And we don't really know why they were never raised there. We know that Wendell grew up in the Key House, but eventually moved. And in the first volume, we are able to kind of figure that out a little bit more. I did want to give a quick shout out to Jay Shark, Yints, Wendy S, Danny Boy, Varun, Caesar, Rick Dick loves Only Stupid Answers. Thanks for the shout out. And also over on the Instagram live stream, hey, Jack in the Box, thanks for watching. It looks like the Jack in the Box. Appreciate it. That's pretty cool. And 90s Flower Queen. Thanks for the wave. Appreciate you guys. But in this first book, we do get to see the state of the family, and it's bad. And everyone's dealing with the loss of their father in different ways. I actually like that in the series, the way they interpret the death of the dad is a little bit it feels rushed. In this, you really have to live in the moment that this whole family had to experience the loss of their father, and each of them having to make very tough actually I was gonna say adult decisions, but they're decisions that nobody should have to make. We're talking about the Ludwig. We're talking about the comic right now. Comic or a book? Is it a comic or a book? It's a comic book. It's a graphic novel, so you can read individual issues if you'd like. But also, I'm talking about the first collection. Oh, thank you. You appreciate me getting your name right, Caesar. No, of course. Yeah, I'll try my best. But yeah, Ty specifically, I did appreciate more how the book adapted, or the book tackled how he dealt with it, that he took more of a father figure role for the family. Also, Nina, the mom, is in a more out of sorts than in the series. We do see that she is struggling with alcohol addiction, but in the book, she is much worse for wear for obvious reasons. For different reasons. We do see that she was sexually assaulted by one of the assailants, who is a teen. It's a lot darker, and I'm actually okay that the series decided to take that out because she's already going through a lot. I don't think we needed to have that specific aspect added to her character. I'm fine that they took that out, but we see that Ty is choosing to take more of a fatherly figure when it comes to taking care of the family, mainly his siblings, and the upkeep of the house. We see that Kinsley is just becoming more withdrawn, and she's very emotional, and who wouldn't be, but she's upset that she is so emotional compared to her other siblings, and she doesn't want to feel that way. And also Bodhi's can only grasp as much as he can grasp. We see in this first volume, he's having flashbacks of seeing his dead father, and it's awful. No kid should have to see that, but the way that he's tackling it is by kind of diving into fantasy, and the fact that this Key House is calling out to kids, not adults, and the younger the kids are, the more susceptible they are to the magic. So he's able to become enthralled with the mystery of the house and the mystery of the keys. So he starts seeing the skull key or the dead key. I know there's different names for them, but that's just what I call it in my head. It's the key, or the ghost key. And that's the key that's able to turn you into a ghost if you walk through a very specific door at a specific lock with a specific key. And that moment in the book was, I was instantly captured by the mystery and the fantasy of this book, because the way that it displays how this works is kind of haunting. The way that this magic works, especially for a kid. What's the name again? Maybe I can find it near my comic shop. It's called Welcome to Lovecraft. And Ludwig, who's watching on Instagram, you can actually read it for free on Hoopla if you go check out that website. And I love that when he first exits his body, it's kind of frightening, right? That his body on the ground turns gray, his eyes kind of glaze over, and even Kinsey thinks that he's playing a prank, which is a weird prank. But he's able to take this rather dark idea of being able to escape your body and just look at it the way a kid would, where you get to fly around, you get to go through walls, you can kind of go wherever you want if you think about it, which I like that mechanic in it. And I also like how that was adapted in the show. It was a very cool reveal once he's able to fly around, and he talks to a ghost, which I Don't remember that ghost being ever in the book, so I did like seeing that there were other ghosts that Bodhi could talk to in the series. I thought that was pretty cool. Kevin Company says, "Wow, the WoW comics are dope. I've never read the World of Warcraft comics before, but hey, I'm always down to check out new books." Um, we're talking about Lock and Key, the comic series. I wish I could put a title on the Instagram live stream, but what you gonna do? And thanks for loving the shirt, and I'm wearing sweats underneath because I'm trying to be as relaxed as possible. The Instagram live stream people can fully see that I'm just wearing sweats. I'm trying to keep up the illusion for the rest of the streams. Uh, but yeah, as we kind of explore the different keys in this book, it leads Bodhi to getting to the well house. And now I'm not trying to like explain the entire premise to you guys because you should read it and you should check out the series. I actually do recommend it. It is different, but it has its strengths. But when he discovers the well house and the way that the Echo starts interacting with Bodhi, um, is in its own way frightening, and I think that was captured well in the series. But as it goes on, him having this imaginary friend that he's talking to, and also Bodhi being perceptive enough as a kid to think like, maybe this isn't good. Like someone that's locked up in a well probably was there for a reason, or maybe not. But like, if since no one else can see it or hear it, there's a chance that he might be being manipulated. In the moment where the Echo climbs out of the well and attacks Bodhi and threatens what that thing could do to his the rest of his family, Bodhi acts believably in this, and I appreciate the way that he's dealing with it. And as we get into our second confrontation with Sam Lesser, the kid who killed their dad and caused this entire thing to happen, I liked seeing the mystery kind of unfold that Sam is connected. Also, big bummer that Sam, the bad guy in this book, has my name. Never a big fan of when that happens, but I have a common name, so I can't be too mad. But when Sam's connections come to light, like he's able to see in the painting that Dodge is manipulating him, and it's as we learn more about Sam's home life, we realize that it's not great, and you're able to see why he was manipulated so easily. But I think a very smart decision that the Netflix series did was kind of humanize Sam more, that he did something bad. He did kill their dad, and he was plotting to do that, but more he was trying to get the key for Dodge so that he could have a better life. In the comic, he violently murders a lot of people. And as the series goes on, you see Sam's character kind of go through a redemptive arc of sorts, but it doesn't fully redeem him, because you'll see if you read further in this series, which I highly recommend. It's a very good series. Uh, but yeah, in this, it's very clear that he is not a good person, and he is very much swayed by Dodge and what Dodge is offering him. Also, he wasn't supposed to go to prison, so the fact that Dodge is able to get him things while in prison, that was a cool element to see that she's able to manipulate mirrors, or he, as we get into the reveal at the end of the series, at the end of the first volume, being able to switch genders to a guy, and then is able to escape with the Anywhere key. And the reveal of the Anywhere key was very cool. It was just as fulfilling as it was in the series when we were able to get that key. But anyways, yeah, Sam's fate at the end of this book is pretty frightening. But I did like that the family's able to get closure of sorts on this threat now. But moving forward, we don't know what's going to happen to the rest of the family and what the threat Dodge poses to them now. Because clearly Dodge wants keys. It's some sort of supernatural entity, and we don't really know what the keys are. There's a lot of groundwork for an amazing story, which we do get um, uh, as the story progresses. And I think when it comes to the Netflix series, we kind of skip around a little bit, but they do a good job introducing new keys, like the fire key. That's not in the book, but I think they needed an easily accessible key that has a pretty solid, just magical element to it. Starts fires whenever you think about it or touch it to something. It's also it's easy to prove that they are magic faster than opening up your head, like with the head key, which is in volume 2 but is in the first season of the series. It's just an easier tool. So yeah, and I think also the like sexual violence in the book not being adapted in the series was a pretty smart move. Personally, I'm fine that that's not being that was left behind, because there are traumas that this family is facing already, that didn't need to be an element of it. People might disagree. and I would like to hear those thoughts as well. And I did want to give another thank you to everyone who's watching live right now, because Lock and Key is one of the series that I constantly recommend. And again, I said earlier, but it is on Hoopla that you can download for free. It is a free library. It's a streaming service that's hooked up to local libraries for books, comic books, graphic novels, movies, audiobooks, lots of cool stuff. Also, Comixology Unlimited is a digital service to read any comic you want to. They have Marvel, DC, Indie, Comics, IDW, Image. You guys get it. And those are, and they have a 60-day free trial, which you could check out right now with your Amazon account. So consider it. And if you are watching on Twitch right now, then you guys can use that pretty easily. But yes, I did want to, you know what? It's kind of always fun to rate these volumes. So I would happily give the first volume of Lock and Key 9 out of 10, mainly because I think there's some of the elements that are a little more grisly for my taste, but I still appreciate what Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez were trying to convey with this. It is a graphic novel, but it should be taken seriously, and the story is going to be serious, but also you do get moments of levity with Bodhi's entire personality. He's very optimistic, and he can't really be brought down with what's happening around him. And maybe when he's older, he'd be able to deal with this, similar to if you guys are watching Steven Universe Future, or if you just watch the finale. I liked how they were able to deal with his trauma through his adventures as a kid. But yeah, I highly recommend it, and I did want to check out and see really quick. Yeah, we did read this actually over on the Only Stupid Answers podcast. And if you guys are watching and you guys are always like, "Wait, Sam, what are you up to right now?" I've been doing that podcast for a couple of years now, and it was we're about to do our 200th episode of that show, which is pretty cool. I did want to see if I had any thoughts here. Cam Senses was raving about Lock and Key, and they're hooked on the Netflix series as well. They highly recommended it, and you can read a good chunk of the entire series on Comixology Unlimited, and it's also well worth the purchase because it's amazing. The way that they unfold the story and the way they introduce new keys is very fulfilling. And also, we're getting a season 2 of the Netflix series as well, which is exciting. Thanks to Marg and Riley and Johnny for joining us in the chat on Instagram Live. And we've got Gary Gang saying that they're giving praise to Lock and Key. We also have Vanny saying that they're excited for the Netflix series, and they had checked out the comic series as well. So those are a couple of the people who support us via Patreon, and I just wanted to make sure I read some of their chats. But I did want to give another thank you to everyone who joined us live on Instagram. And if you have recommendations on what I should read next, I did want to check out DC's New Frontier. It's one of my favorite series, but I haven't reread it in a second. I have reread it before, and I highly recommend it to all of you. It was written and drawn by the late Darwin Cook, and it is, if you're a fan of DC Comics, this is a beautiful love letter to the birth of comics and the influence it has on pop culture and how pop culture influences comic books. I make it sound more analytical, but it is a very exciting story to read in the art style of Art Deco 1950s. Imagine like the art style of like the Jetsons, but more, the intro to Bewitched from the 1950s or 1960s, if you're familiar with that, that's the art style of this book. So, Volume 1 of DC's New Frontier, I'm going to be checking out next week. And I actually want to bring on one of you guys. So, if you are interested at all, let me know in the comments down below or hit me up on Twitter at Sam Basher. And I'll be streaming it on Instagram Live. And I'm going to figure out how to get it on Instagram Live and on the other streaming services as well. It'd be cool to be able to unify all of those. Because I appreciate you guys joining me live. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this series because... J Shark saying they love being here. I appreciate you guys joining. I hope you guys enjoy and are able to check out these comics. And I do want to hear from you guys what we should check out in the future. And if you'd like to come on the show, or if there's any guests you'd like me to bring on, let me know. I can try to bring them in via Skype or some other service. But again, hope you appreciated it. Let me know your thoughts on Lock and Key if you read it afterwards. Just tag me in it, and I would love to hear it. And send your praise to the showrunners and the creators behind this comic, because of course they're going to love some praise. Times are tough right now, and any positivity you can share probably is appreciated through and through. So with that, I will leave you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the Instagram live stream early. Thank you to everyone who joined us live over here. We much appreciate you guys. Lock and Key is for getting through. Is the key for getting through the quarantine. Whole lot of Greg. Hey, Greg. I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the future or next week. Bye bye. All right, that one's ended. I'll make sure I'll share that to my story, and I'll make sure this one stays up on the YouTube channels. I don't know how Twitch does it. Don't know how to get that one live, and I don't know how to play games on Twitch because I don't have all the software to do that. But that's neither here nor there. Hopefully, you guys appreciated and enjoyed this, and I will be seeing you guys again very soon. Have a good one. Love you. Bye. Gotta find the button. Oh, here's Dwight. I couldn't put it on Instagram. His picture of Dwight. I can't see him right now, but I can't see, like, I can't visit him right now. But he just had a little operation, but he's doing good, and he needs to get a haircut soon because he's looking like a little trash man. But anyways, that's enough of Dwight. Let's go ahead and go back to the thumbnail. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.